I woke up and couldn't move. The ceiling fan in my tiny apartment was frozen mid-spin, like someone had hit pause on the world. But I knew it was just the night doing its thing again. My name's Sarah Whitaker, and I'm 29, scraping by as a seasonal forest ranger here in Missoula, Montana. Right now, though, I'm off duty, holed up in this one-bedroom place on the edge of town, where the pines press up against the windows like they're trying to get in. The air felt thick, heavier than the usual mountain chill that sneaks through the cracks in these old walls. My chest was pinned down, not by anything I could see, but by that invisible weight that comes with sleep paralysis, the kind that's been crashing my nights since I was a kid. And there, reflected in the window, across from my bed, was the silhouette. It looked just like him, my dad, standing there with his slouched shoulders, one hand in his pocket like he used to do, and he was waiting for me to say something wrong. The apartment was quiet, except for the faint tick of the radiator in the corner trying to fight off the October cold. I'd fallen asleep early, exhausted from a day of inventorying trail cams up in the rattlesnake wilderness. My boots still kick with mud by the door. Missoula is beautiful in the fall, the leaves turning gold along the Clark Fork River, the air crisp with that pine scent that makes you feel alive. But at night, in this place, it all turns inward. My bed was a mess of flannel sheets and the wool blanket my grandma knit before she passed. I stared at the ceiling, willing my body to twitch, to break free, but nothing. Just my eyes, wide open, locked in that window reflection. The silhouette didn't move at first, but then it shifted, tilting its head the way Dad did when he was about to yell. I wanted to scream, to roll over and hide under the covers like I was 12 again, but my voice was gone, trapped in my throat. I've lived in Missoula for 5 years now, ever since I packed up what little I had from that trailer park outside Billings and headed west. The job with the Forest Service pays just enough to cover rent on this apartment, a cramped space with peeling wallpaper in the kitchen, and a view of the parking lot where my beat-up Subaru sits most days. I like the work, being out in the woods, away from people. It's peaceful. Or it was, until the nights started bleeding into the days. Sleep paralysis isn't new to me. It started back when I was a kid living in that rusty trailer with Dad. He'd come home late, reeking of whiskey and cheap cigarettes, slamming doors until the whole place shook. I'd lie on my bunk, pretending to sleep, but sometimes I'd wake up stuck, feeling like the walls were closing in. Mom left when I was 8, said she couldn't take it anymore. It was just me and him after that. I found him dead in the woods one morning when I was 19. Heart attack, they said. Bottle still in his hand. That's when the episodes got worse, like his ghost decided to stick around in my head. The silhouette in the window raised its arm now, slow, like it was pointing at me. My heart pounded so hard I could feel it in my ears, a dull thump-thump that echoed the radiator's rhythm. I focused on my breathing, the one thing I could kind of control. In through the nose, out through the mouth. Slow, steady. I'd read about it online once, back when I first tried to figure this out, how to stay calm, not fight the paralysis because fighting makes it worse. But knowing and doing are two different things. The air smelled like the pint cleaner I used on the floors earlier, mixed with the faint mustiness of the old building. Outside, a truck rumbled down Higgins Avenue, its headlights flashing across the window for a second, making the silhouette flicker. Was it real, or just the light playing tricks? My mind raced, pulling up memories I didn't want. The way Dad's hands shook when he tried to pour coffee in the morning, the bruises on my arms when he grabbed too hard. I lay there, counting breaths. 1, 2, 3. The silhouette mimicked me, its chest rising and falling in the reflection like it was breathing with me. Creepy as hell, but I told myself it was just my brain projecting him because that's what stress does. Missoula is not a big city. It's got that small town,
feel where everyone knows your business if you let them. I don't. My coworkers at the ranger station think I'm quiet but reliable. Sarah, who always volunteers with the solo patrols, who can identify every bird call in the Bitterroots. They don't know about the nights, about how I drag myself to work with dark circles under my eyes, chugging coffee from the thermos I fill at the Break Espresso down the street. The barista there, Tom, always asks me how I'm doing, and I say, fine, because what else do you say? Hey, I saw my dad in the window last night and couldn't move. You'd think I was losing it, and maybe I was. I sat on the couch, pulling my knees to my chest, and stared at the window again. The silhouette was gone, but the feeling wasn't. It lingered like smoke from a campfire that clings to your clothes. Morning came slow, the sky turning gray over the mountains. I dragged myself to the shower. The hot water washed away the sweat, but not the memory. Dressed in flannel and jeans, I grabbed my pack and headed out, the cold air slapping my face as I locked the door. Missoula was waking up, folks jogging along the river path, the smell of breakfast from the diners on Higgins. I stopped at the ranger station first, checking in with the boss about winter prep. You look tired, Whitaker. Everything okay? I nodded and forced a smile. Just the off-season blues. He bought it. Everyone gets moody when the tourists leave and snow starts threatening. The day blurred into routine. Paperwork, mapping burn areas from last summer's fires. Quick patrol up Lolo Pass. The forest was my escape. The crunch of leaves under my boots, the call of a raven overhead. But at night, in this place, it all turns inward. The day blurred into routine. But even there in the daylight, I felt watched. Like the trees had eyes, or worse, like Dad was trailing behind, his boots heavier than mine. I shook it off, focused on the work. By evening, I was back in the apartment, cooking pasta on the stove, the sauce bubbling with garlic and tomatoes from the farmer's market. Simple stuff, but it felt normal. I ate at the table scrolling my phone, avoiding forums about sleep stuff I looked once years ago, and it scared me more. People talking about demons, old hags. No thanks. I knew it was my brain, my guilt, my whatever. Bedtime came too soon. I hesitated at the bedroom door, the window looming like an accusation. I drew the curtains tight, turned on a small lamp, and crawled under the covers. Just sleep, I told myself. It's nothing. But as my eyes closed, I felt it building, the heaviness in my limbs, the pull into that in-between place. The paralysis hit again faster this time. My body locked, my breath shallow, and in the window, even through the curtain's gap, the silhouette appeared. Clearer now, raising his hand like it was waving me over. I fought the panic, focused on my toe. Wiggle it. Come on. Nothing. The silhouette stepped closer in reflection, its face indistinct but familiar. The slump of a didymy in its posture. Memories flooded. Dad passed out on the trailer couch. Me tiptoeing around bottles. Me finding him in the woods, his skin cold. Why couldn't I save him? Why did I leave him there that morning? The weight on my chest grew, like his hand pressing down. I breathed deeper, and out, telling myself it's not real, it's not him, but it felt so real, the way he used to loom over me when he was angry. Hours or minutes, I couldn't tell. When I broke free, I bolted up and hit gasping, the lamp still on. The window was empty now, just the dark outline of the pines swaying in the wind. I read my eyes, my hands trembling, and checked the clock on my nightstand. 3:42 a.m. Always around then, like my body had a schedule for this crap. The apartment felt colder. the radio clanking as it cooled down. I swung my legs over the side of the bed, my bare feet hitting the warmer rug I'd picked up at a thrift store on Broadway. I needed water or air or something to shake this off. The kitchen light flicked on with a hum, illuminated the stack of unwashed mugs in the sink and the calendar on the wall marked with my shows, mostly blanks now that the season was winding down. I filled a glass from the tap. The water tasted metallic like always in these old pipes. Staring out the small window over the sink, I half expected to see Hilligan, standing in the parking lot under the sodium light, but it was empty. Just my Subaru and a dumpster overflowing with someone's moving boxes. That silhouette? Why him? Why now?
The whisper stuck with me all day, like a song you can't shake. Sarah. Soft, low, almost like Dad's voice when he wasn't yelling, back when he'd call me to the trailer's kitchen for dinner. I was out on patrol in the Bitterroots, checking trail markers near Lolo Creek, but my mind wasn't on the job. The pines loomed tall, their needles crunching under my boots, the air sharp with that late fall bite. Missoula was quiet this time of year, the tourists gone, just locals and the occasional elk crossing the path. I kept replaying that night, the silhouette in the window, clearer than ever, and that voice. Was it him? Was it me? Or just my brain screwing with me again? I adjusted my pack, the weight of the radio and water bottle grounding me, and tried to focus. But the woods felt different today, like they were holding their breath, waiting for me to slip. I'm Sarah Whitaker, 29, still scraping by as a seasonal forest ranger here at Missoula, Montana. My apartment's my anchor and my cage, a small creaky place on the edge of town where pines crowd the windows. That whisper from last night, though, it followed me out here, into the open. I've been dealing with sleep paralysis for as long as I can remember, but it's gotten worse since I moved here. Like the mountains know my secrets. The silhouette, the one that looks like Dad, it's not new, but hearing my name, that was a first. I told myself it was just a hallucination, like the articles say. Your brain stuck between sleep and waking, throwing out images and sounds from your subconscious. But knowing that doesn't make it easier when you're frozen in your own bed, staring at a shadow that knows you better than you know yourself. I got back to the ranger station around 4, the sky already bruising purple over the mountains. Maria was at the desk, sorting permits, her glasses perched on her nose. "You're quiet today," she said, not looking up. I shrugged, dropped my pack by the door. "Long day." She nodded, didn't push. That's what I like about Maria. She senses when to leave it alone. I clocked out, grabbed my keys, and headed to my Subaru. The dents in the fender, a reminder of too many narrow forest roads. The drive home was quick, past the breweries on Higgins and the river glinting under the streetlights. I stopped at the co-op for groceries. Pasta, canned tomatoes, a loaf of sourdough. Simple stuff. The kind of meal you make when you're too tired to think. The apartment was cold when I got in, the radiator clanking like it was arguing with itself. I flicked on the kitchen light, set the groceries on the counter, and started boiling water for pasta. The routine helped. Chopping garlic, stirring sauce, the sizzle of olive oil in the pan. It was normal, real, something Dad never bothered with. He'd come home with a pizza box or a bag of burgers, if he came home at all. I ate at the table, the radio playing low, some NPR segment about wildfire budgets. I half listened, my eyes drifting to the bedroom door. The curtains were still drawn tight, but I could feel the window behind them, like it was watching me. I cleaned up, washed the dishes, and tried to ignore the knot in my stomach. Another night was coming. Sleep paralysis didn't start with Dad's death, though that's when I got bad. It started way before, when I was 12, living in that trailer outside Billings. I need to go back there to make sense of this, to figure out why that silhouette keeps showing up, why it's saying my name now. That trailer was a dump,
rusty siding, leaky roof, the kind of place where the wind howled through the walls in winter. Dad was always drinking, always angry, but when he was sober, he wasn't so bad. He'd tell stories about hunting with his buddies, his voice soft, almost proud. I'd hang on every word, wishing he'd be that guy all the time. Mom was gone by then. She left when I was 8, said she couldn't handle his moods. I didn't blame her, but I missed her every day. Her laugh, the way she'd braid my hair while humming old country songs. The first time I froze up, I was 12, sleeping on the bunk bed in the back room. It was summer, hot and sticky, the kind of night where you kick off the sheets and pray for a breeze. I woke up, or thought I did, and couldn't move. My body was heavy, like someone had poured cement over me. The room was dark, just the glow of a nightlight shaped like a horse that I'd had since I was 6. There was a shadow in the corner, near the closet, tall and slouched, like Dad when he stood in the doorway checking in on me. I tried to call out, but my throat was locked, my breath coming in short gasps. The shadow didn't move, but I felt it, like it was pressing down on the air. I panicked, my mind screaming, "Move, Sarah, move," but nothing happened. I don't know how long it lasted. Maybe a minute, maybe less, but it felt like forever. When I finally snapped out of it, I was soaked in sweat, my heart racing like I'd run from a bear. I jumped out of bed, ran to the living room where Dad was passed out on the couch, a bottle tipped over on the floor. I shook him, my voice shaking. "Dad, I couldn't move. There was something in my room." He groaned, waved me off, his eyes barely open. "Go to bed, Sarah, you're dreaming." I tried again, louder, but he just muttered something about kids and nightmares. I stood there, feeling small, the trailer's walls closing in on me. I didn't sleep after that. I sat on the floor, hugging my knees, staring at the door to my room like it might open on its own. The next morning, I told Dad again, over breakfast, burnt toast and watery coffee. He was hungover, his hands shaking as he lit a cigarette. "You're fine," he said, not looking at me. "Just a bad dream. Happens to everyone." I wanted to argue, to make him listen, but his tone shut me down. That was Dad. Anything he didn't understand was kid stuff or drama. I didn't bring it up again. Not to him, not to anyone. School was out for summer, and my friends were all at camp or with their families. I was alone with it. That feeling of being trapped in my own skin. The episodes came randomly after that. Once a month, maybe. Always at night. Always with that shadow in the corner. I'd lie there, counting my breaths, waiting for it to pass, telling myself it was nothing. Back at Missoula, present day, I was trying to do better. After that whisper, I'd bookmarked more articles, joined a forum under a fake name, Ranger Girl 406. People posted about their episodes, the shadows, the voices, the weight on their chest. Reading it made me feel less crazy, like I wasn't the only one fighting this thing. Some talked about triggers, stress, bad sleep, alcohol. I wasn't drinking much, but stress? Yeah, that was my life. The off-season meant no steady paycheck, just odd jobs and waiting for spring. Dad's death still hung over me, too, like a debt I couldn't pay. I'd found him in the woods that day, 19 and clueless, thinking I could fix him if I just tried harder. The guilt stuck, even now. I avoided Dad as long as I could that night. I cleaned the apartment again, scrubbed the bathroom sink, organized my gear, compass, map, first aid kit, anything to stay busy. I called Jake just to hear a voice. "Hey, you free tomorrow?" He laughed. "For you, always. Want to hit the trail?" I said sure, something to look forward to. We talked about nothing. His dog, the new brewery downtown. It felt good, normal. But when I hung up, the apartment was quiet again, the radiator hissing like it was mocking me. I made chamomile tea, sipped it slow, and finally crawled into bed, the lamp on low. The curtains blocked the window, but I could still feel it, like eyes on my back of my neck. Sleep came in fits, and so did the paralysis. This time, I was back in the trailer, 12 years old, the bunk bed creaking under me. The shadow was there, in the corner by the closet, taller now, its outline sharp. It moved, stepping closer, and I heard it, my name, whispered like a secret. Sarah. My chest tightened, the air thick with the smell of stale beer and cigarette smoke. I was a kid again, small and scared, waiting for Dad to burst in to save me or yell at me. I didn't know which. I tried to move, to scream, but I was locked, my breath shallow. The shadow paused, like it heard me. I thought of the woods, of hiking alone, and how I had learned to be strong out there. I wasn't that kid anymore. I was Sarah, the ranger, the one who faced bears and storms. My finger twitched, then my hand. The paralysis broke, and I woke up gasping. Back at my Missoula apartment, the lamp flickering. The clock read 3:47 a.m. I sat up and grabbed my journal from the nightstand. Trailer again, heard my name, like Dad, breathed through it. Writing it down felt like taking something back, like I was in control. The next night, I was out with Jake, hiking up to the Penguin Rock and the Rattlesnake. The trail was muddy, the air cold but clean. He talked about his ex, how he was finally moving on. I listened, nodded, but my mind was on the trailer, on that first episode. You ever have weird dreams? I asked, casual.
The voice wouldn't leave my head, even out in the daylight. Sarah, why'd you leave me? It echoed when I was brushing my teeth, when I was lacing up my boots for a quick walk along the river path. Missoula was crisp that morning, the Clark Fork running fast with snowmelt from the mountains, the air carrying that sharp pine and water smell that usually cleared my mind. I'm Sarah Whitaker, 29, still holding down my seasonal gig as a forest ranger here in Montana, but off-season means I've got too much time to think. My apartment's become this little box of memories I can't escape. The radiator clanking, the curtains I keep drawn, the journal on my nightstand filling up with scribbles about shadows and whispers. That voice from last night, Dad's voice, it wasn't just a hallucination anymore. It felt like a question I'd been dodging for 10 years. I grabbed my pack and headed out early, needing the woods more than coffee. The Rattlesnake Trailhead was quiet, just a couple of runners and a guy walking his dog. I hiked fast, my boots crunching on gravel, the rhythm pushing the whisper back. The trees closed in, their branches heavy with last night's frost, and for a while it worked. I was out here, moving, in control. But my phone buzzed in my pocket, a reminder from the forum I joined under the name Ranger Girl 406. I posted late last night, after that episode in the trailer dream. Anyone else hear voices, like someone you know saying your name? I hadn't expected replies so soon. I stopped at a lookout, the valleys spreading out below, and opened the app. The forum was a mess of threats, people from all over spilling their guts about sleep paralysis. Some posts were short. Felt hands on my neck, woke up crying. Others went on for paragraphs, detailing shadows, old hags, demons. I scrolled, my thumb hovering, heart picking up speed. One user, Nighthawk22, wrote, "My didn't dive when I was a kid. Now he shows up in my episodes, just stands there, says my name sometimes. It's guilt, I think. You ever lose someone?" I stared at the screen, the wind whipping my hair across my face. Guilt. Yeah, that hit. I typed back, fingers shaky. Same. Found my dead in the woods. Now he's in my room whispering. How do you deal? I hit send before I could overthink it. Back at the apartment, I couldn't stop reading. I made up a pot of coffee, strong and black, and sat at the kitchen table with my laptop. The forum was a lifeline. People like me, stuck in their heads at 3 a.m., fighting things no one else saw. Someone posted about breathing techniques. Box breathing, 4 in, 4 hold, 4 out. Saved me during a bad one. Another shared a link to a sleep study out of Stanford.
explaining how trauma wires your brain for these episodes. I bookmarked it, along with a Reddit thread where folks swapped stories. One woman, Mama Bear 87, said she saw her mom, who'd passed from cancer, sitting in a chair. I started talking to her in my head during the paralysis, told her I was okay. It got easier. Talking to the shadow, that sounded nuts, but I was desperate. I'm not big on opening up. Growing up in that trailer outside Billings, you learn to keep things locked down. Dad's moods were a minefield. One wrong word and he'd explode. After Mom left, it was just survival. Get to school, avoid his fists when he was drunk, clean up the bottles. When the paralysis started at 12, I didn't tell anyone. Not Dad, who'd brush it off. Not the teachers, who'd call social services and make things worse. I handled it alone, like everything else. But this forum? It was different. No faces, no judgment, just words on a screen from people who got it. I posted again. Anyone in Montana? Feels weird being the only one. Within minutes, a reply from Montana Mountains. Missoula here. You're not alone. Coffee sometime? I stared at the message, my stomach flipping. Meet someone in person? I closed the laptop. The day dragged. I ran errands, laundry at the Sud Shack on Broadway, gas for the Subaru, a quick stop at the library to return a field guide. Missoula's small enough that you see familiar faces, but it kept my head down. At the grocery store, I ran into Jake, pushing a cart with beer and chips. Hey, Stanger, he said, grinning. You bailed on our lake. I laughed, awkward. Got busy. He tilted his head. You okay? You look off. I wanted to tell him about the forum, the voice, the silhouette, but the word stuck. Just tired. He nodded and didn't push. Hit me up when you're free. I promised I would, but as I loaded my bags, I felt that old wall go up. Alone was safer. Back at home, I cooked chili, the smell of cumin and beans filling the apartment, ate on the couch, laptop open again, diving deeper into the forum. Someone posted a link to a podcast, some doctor talking about sleep paralysis, how it's your brain's alarm system gone haywire. I downloaded it and saved it for later. Another thread was about triggers, irregular sleep, stress, even sleeping on your back. Guilty on all accounts. I'd been pulling all-nighters reading, crashing at odd hours, avoiding my bed like it was the enemy. The silhouette, Dad's shape, it made sense. My brain pulling him out of the guilt drawer, the one I'd slammed shut after his funeral. That night, I tried to beat smart. No copy after 6, a walk around the block, the street lights buzzing overhead. I called my aunt in Billings just to hear a voice. She rambled about her cats, the church potluck. I didn't mention the episodes, but her voice, warm, steady, calmed me. You sound tired, Sarah. Come visit soon. I said I may be. Hung up and made tea. In bed, I left the lamp on, radio playing soft jazz. The forum had given me hope, but since I wasn't broke, it just stuck. I posted one less thing. Trying new stuff, breathing, routines. Anyone see progress? Replies trickled in, encouragement, tips, stories. I fell asleep feeling lighter, like I'd cracked a door open. But the paralysis doesn't care about hope. It again around 2 a.m., pulling me under like a riptide. I was in the apartment, not the trailer. The window uncovered despite my best efforts. The silhouette was there in the glass, clearer than ever. Dad's flannel shirt, his work boots, and the way he slouched when he was tired. He raised a hand, not threatening, just there. And the voice came again, louder. Sarah, you left me. My chest was heavy, my breath short, but I remembered the forum. I breathed. 4 in, 4 hold, 4 out, slow. The shadow didn't move, but I felt it listening. I thought about the posts, the people out there fighting the same fight. I wasn't alone. I focused on my hand, willing a finger to twitch. It did faster than usual. The paralysis broke, and I sat up, gasping, the lamp still glowing. The window was empty, just the pine swaying outside. My heart slowed, and I grabbed my journal. Heard him again. You left me. Used box breathing. Worked better. Form's helping. I underlined it, like it mattered. The clock read 2:23 a.m., earlier than usual. Progress. I lay back, not scared for once, just curious. What would you say next? And why now? Morning came with the text from Montana Mountains. Coffee tomorrow? Brick espresso, 10 a.m. No pressure. I stared at it, my thumb hovering. Meeting someone who got it? Face to face? My stomach nodded, but the forum had already pulled me out of my shell. I tied back. See you there. I didn't sleep again, but I didn't need to. For the first time, I felt like I was fighting back. But as I closed the journal, a new sound cut through the quiet. A soft scrape at the window. Like branches. Or maybe something else.
The scrape at the window followed me into the morning, like a splinter I couldn't pull out. I told myself it was just the pine branch that rubs against the glass when the wind picks up, but it didn't feel like that. Missoula was gray and drizzly, the kind of day where the mountains disappear behind clouds and the river looks slate cold. I'm Sarah Whitaker, 29, still navigating my off-season life as a forest ranger, and that sound, soft, deliberate, kept replaying as I showered, as I pulled on jeans and my favorite green flannel, as I grabbed my keys for the coffee meetup. The forum had given me a lifeline. People who understood the paralysis, the shadows, the voices. But now, with Montana Mountains waiting at Rake Espresso, I was stepping into something new, something that scared me almost as much as the silhouette. I drove downtown, the Subaru's wipers squeaking against the drizzle. Higgins Avenue was quiet for a Saturday, just a few folks hurrying into shops, umbrellas bobbing. Rake Espresso was a Missoula staple. Brick walls, local art, the smell of roasted beans hitting you at the door. I spotted Montana Mountains right away, or who I hoped was them. A woman about my age, short, dark hair, sitting at a corner table with 2 mugs. She looked up, smiled, and waved me over. "Sarah?" she asked, her voice warm but cautious. I nodded, sliding into the chair. "Call me Jazz," she said, pushing a latte my way. "Figured you'd need caffeine." Jess was easy to talk to, which surprised me. She worked at the university library, lived in the Rattlesnake neighborhood, and had been dealing with sleep paralysis since college. "Started after my mom died," she said, stirring her coffee. "I'd see her in the doorway, just standing there. Freaked me out." I sipped the latte, the foam thick and sweet, and found myself opening up. "Mine's my dad," I said, my voice low. "Found him dead when I was 19. Now he's in my window, saying my name." Jess nodded, no judgment, just understanding. "It's your brain processing grief, but knowing that doesn't make it less real at 3 a.m. We talked for an hour. Breathing tricks, sleep schedules, the forum posts that kept us sane. For the first time, I didn't feel like a freak. Driving home, I felt lighter, like I'd shed a layer of something heavy. The drizzle had stopped, the clouds parting to let a sliver of sun hit the mountains. I stopped at the co-op for milk, texted Jake about a hike tomorrow. Normal stuff, the kind of day that almost erased the night. But when I got back to the apartment, the scrape was there again, faint but unmistakable, coming from the bedroom window. I froze in the doorway, key is still in my hand. The curtains were closed, but the sound was deliberate, like fingernails dragging across glass. I told myself it was the tree, grabbed a knife from the kitchen, just in case, and crept to the window. I yanked the curtains open. Nothing. Just the pine, swaying, its branch a good foot from the glass. My pulse slowed, but the unease didn't. I spent the afternoon cleaning, trying to outrun the feeling. I reorganized my gear, sharpened my knife, even dusted the bookshelf. I usually ignore it. The apartment smelled like lemon cleaner and coffee, the radio playing some indie station from the college. I posted on the forum, met someone from here today, felt good, but heard scraping at my window. Anyone else get sounds? Replies came fast. Some said wind, others said their brain adding audio to the hallucinations. One user, Shadow Fighter 99, wrote,
It whispers my name, then gets louder, like it's trying to pull me back. I bookmarked it, my stomach twisting. Pull me back where? Night came too fast. I followed the routine Jess and I talked about. No screens after 8, chamomile tea, a warm shower. I left the lamp on, the radio playing classical, and slid into bed with my journal. I wrote about the coffee meetup, about how Jess made this feel manageable. Maybe I'm not alone. I scribbled it, underlining it. Sleep came slow, my mind buzzing with hope. But the paralysis didn't care about hope. It hit like a truck, locking me in place. My body heavy, my breath shallow. The room was dark except for the lamp's glow, and the silhouette was there. Not in the window this time, but at the foot of my bed, clearer than ever. Dad's flannel, his boots, the slump of his shoulders, and the voice, my name, sharp, like he was standing right over me. Sarah! My heart jam-hackered, the air thick with that old trailer smell. Whiskey, smoke, despair. I tried to move, to scream, but I was stuck, my eyes locked on him. The silhouette raised a hand, pointing, and the voice came again, louder, angrier. Sarah, why'd you leave me? Panic clawed at me, my chest burning, my mind screaming, it's not real, it's not him. I remembered Jess, the forum, the breathing. 4 in, 4 hold, 4 out. I forced it, my lungs fighting the weight. The silhouette leaned closer, its face still shadowed, but I could feel the rage, the same rage from when I'd spill his beer or forget to take out the trash. The voice kept going, relentless. Sarah, Sarah, Sarah! Each time louder, like it was trying to crawl inside me. My ears rang, my vision blurred, and I thought I'd pass out, still trapped. I breathed harder, willing my toe to move, my finger, anything. The panic was winning, my chest so tight I could barely pull air. I thought of Jess, her calm voice at the coffee shop. It's her praying, she'd said. You're stronger than it. I focused on my hand, picturing it moving, grabbing the journal, writing it down. A finger twitched, then another. The silhouette flickered, like bad reception, and the voice faltered. I breathed again, 4 in, 4 in, 4, and my arm broke free. I gasped, bolting upright, the lamp still on, the room empty. My t-shirt was soaked, my hands shaking as I grabbed the journal. He said I left him to die. Loudest yet, panic attack, box breathing saved me. The clock read 3:12 a.m. I was out faster than usual, but the words burned. I left him to die. Was that true? Was that why he wouldn't leave me alone? I didn't sleep again. I paced the apartment, the floorboards creaking, the radiator hissing. I opened the curtains, let the streetlight spill in, daring the silhouette to show up. Nothing. Just the pine, the parking lot, the quiet of a town asleep. I made tea, sat at the table, and scrawled the forum on my phone. Shadow Fighter 99 had replied, when it gets loud, I talk back in my head, tell it to shut up. Sounds crazy, but it works. Talk back. I wasn't there yet. The panic from that episode lingered, my hands still trembling as I typed. Voice said I left him to die. Almost lost it. Anyone talk to their shadow? Replies trickled in, but I couldn't read them. I needed air. I grabbed my jacket, slipped on boots, and stepped outside. The cold hit hard, the drizzle back, misting my face. I walked the block, past sleeping houses, the river's murmur in the distance. Missoula at night is peaceful, almost sacred, but I felt exposed, like the silhouette could hollow me out here. I stopped under a street light, my breath fogging, and whispered to myself, it's not real, you're okay. The words felt hollow, but saying them helped like a tiny anchor. I thought of Dad, not the shadow, but the real him.
The guy who taught me to fish when I was 10 and who laughed when I caught a tiny trout and let it go. That guy was gone long before the woods. Back inside, I left the lights on, curled up on the couch with a blanket. The panic had eased, but the words of the voice stuck. I left him to die. I was 19, working at a gas station saving for community college. He'd been worse that year, drinking more, barely eating. I begged him to get help, but he'd laugh, say I was nagging like Mom. That morning I'd slept in, missed his call to check the mail. When I went looking for him, he was gone, slumped against that pine. The guilt was mine, yeah, but was it fair? The silhouette didn't think so. Dawn came slow, the sky turning pink over the mountains. I texted Jess. Bad one last night. Voice got loud. You free, Doc? She'd replied fast. Call me. Her voice was steady, grounding. She shared her own panic attacks, how she'd learned to ride them out. You're doing the work, Sarah. It's progress. I didn't feel like it, but I clung to her words. Work today was light. Inventory at the station, a quick meeting about spring training. Jake noticed my mood. You sure you're okay? I nodded, but for once I added, bad dreams. He didn't push, offer to hike. I said yes. That night, I was ready, or as ready as I'd ever be. Key, no screens, lamp on. The paralysis hit, and the silhouette was waiting, closer, its voice a growl. Sarah, you killed me. My panic served.
The shadow stepping back should have felt like a win, but it didn't. It felt like a pause, like it was giving me room to breathe before coming harder. I'm Sarah Whitaker, 29, forest ranger in Missoula, Montana, and my apartment had turned into a battlefield I couldn't leave. The radiator clanked, the pines scraped the window, and every night Dad's silhouette waited, his voice sharper, his words heavier. That last episode, when I talked back in my head, "You're not him, you're me," it worked, sort of. I broke free faster, but the panic left a mark, a raw ache in my chest that followed me into the day. Jess called it progress. The forum called it a step. I called it surviving. Barely. I hiked with Jake the next morning, up to the L in the hills above town. The trail was steep, the air cold and clean, the kind that burns your lungs in a good way. Missoula sprawled below, all rooftops and river, the mountains standing guard. Jake talked about his dog, a mutt named Scout, who'd chewed his boots. I laughed, tried to keep up, but my mind was on the silhouette, the voice, the way it backed off when I pushed. "You're quiet," Jake said, pausing at a switchback. I shrugged, wiping sweat from my brow. "Just thinking." He didn't push, just handed me a water bottle. "Whenever you want to talk, I'm here." I nodded, but the wall was still up. Talking to Jess was one thing, anonymous, safe. Jake was real, close, and that scared me. Back home, I was determined to take control. The forum was full of advice on sleep hygiene, and Jess had texted me a list. No caffeine afternoon, consistent bedtime, dark room, no screams. I'd tried bits before, but never all at once. This time I meant it. I cleaned out the fridge, tossed the energy drinks, stocked up on herbal tea at the co-op. I bought blackout curtains, thick, ugly ones from the hardware store on reserve, and installed them myself, my drill whining as I screwed them in. The bedroom felt different, darker, like a cave. I moved the bed to the opposite wall, away from the window, and set a new routine. Dinner by 7, a walk at 8, tea at 9, bed by 10. I even downloaded a sleep app, all soothing sounds and reminders. It felt good, like I was building armor. The first night, I stuck to it. Pasta with pesto, a looper on the block, chamomile tea that tasted like grass but calmed my nerves. I texted Jess, "Trying the full hygiene thing, wish me luck." She sent a thumbs up. In bed, the blackout curtains blocked everything.
The room pitch black except for a tiny LED on my phone. I played Ocean Waves from the app, the sound soft and steady. Sleep came easier than expected, my body heavy, my mind quiet. For once I thought I'd beat it, but the paralysis doesn't follow rules. It hit around 1 a.m., dragging me under like a current, my body locked, my breath shallow, the ocean waves still playing but distant, like they were underwater. The silhouette was there, not at the foot of the bed this time, but closer, right at the edge, leaning over me. Dad's flannel, his boots, the slump of his shoulders, but sharper now, like my brain did turned up the focus. The room was dark, but I could see him, his face still shadowed, his hand reaching out. "Sarah," the voice low but clear, no whisper anymore. "You think you can hide." My heart slammed against my ribs, the weight on my chest heavier than ever. The blackout curtains, the routine, the app, it was all useless. The silhouette was inside my armor, closer than it had ever been. I tried to breathe, 4 in, 4 hold, 4 out, but the panic was faster, my lungs fighting for air. I was back in the trailer, 12 years old, the bunk bed creaking, the air thick with Dad's cigarette smoke. But I was 29, too, in my apartment, the ocean waves mocking me. The silhouette's hand hovered over my chest, not touching, but pressing, like it was pushing the guilt deeper. "You left me," it said, louder, angrier. "You didn't save me." The words were a knife twisting in the same wound, finding him cold in the woods, my hand too late, my voice too small. I wanted to scream, to fight, but my body was cemented, my voice gone. The silhouette leaned closer, its breath whiskey and regret hot on my face. "You're just like me, Sarah. Weak." The panic was a storm, my vision tunneling, my ears ringing. I thought of Jess, the form Jake's offer to listen. I thought of the woods, my safe place where I was strong. I tried to talk back in my head. "You're not him, you're my guilt." But the voice drowned it out. "Sarah, Sarah, Sarah." Each time closer, like it was crawling into my skull. My chest burned, my fingers numb, and for a moment I thought I'd die there, trapped forever. The ocean waves played on, indifferent. The blackout curtains trapped me in with him. My routine, my armor. It crumbled like dry pine needles. I don't know how I broke free. Maybe it was the breathing, maybe it was sheer will, but my hand twitched, then my arm. I gasped, bolting upright, the LED on my phone glowing red. 2:47 a.m. The room was empty, the silhouette gone, but the air felt wrong, heavy with his presence. I scrambled for the lamp, flicked it on, the light harsh against my eyes. My t-shirt was soaked, my hands shaking as I grabbed my journal. Closest yet, said I'm weak. Routine failed, panic worse than ever. I underlined failed, the pen digging into the page. The ocean waves still played, I might shut them off, the silence louder. I couldn't stay in the bedroom. I grabbed a blanket, stumbled to the couch, curled up, the radiator clanking like it was laughing. The blackout curtains had been a mistake. They didn't keep him out, they locked me in. I opened them, let the streetlights spill across the floor, the pine branch scraping again. Soft but real this time. I checked the window, nothing but the tree, the parking lot, the quiet of Missoula at 3 a.m. I made tea, my hands unsteady, and sat at the table, staring at my phone. The forum was alive even now. New posts, new stories. I typed, "Tried sleep hygiene. Blackout curtains routine app, shadow got closer. Said I'm weak. Anyone else's routine fail?" I didn't expect replies, but they came. Nighthawk 22. Mine got worse before better. Keep doing. Mama Bear 87. Routine's a start, not a fix. Trauma's stubborn. Dawn creeped in, gray and slow. The mountains hidden in fog. I texted Jess. Routine bombed. Worst one yet. She called, her voice calm despite the hour.
It's a setback, not a defeat, she said. Trauma fights dirty. I wanted to believe her, but the silhouette's words, "You're weak," dug in. I dragged myself to work, inventory again, my eyes gritty, my hands clumsy with the clipboard. Maria noticed. "You need a day off, Sarah." I shook my head. "I'm fine." But I wasn't. Jake texted about the hike and I bailed, said I was sick. I couldn't face him, not with weak echoing in my head. That night, I didn't try the routine. I was too raw, too scared. I left the lights on, the radio playing, and stayed on the couch, a knife under the cushion like a kid with a teddy bear. Sleep came in snatches, and the paralysis came with it. The silhouette was at the couch's edge, inches from my face. "Sarah," it said, almost gentle now. "You can't run." I breathed, fought, broke free, faster. But it wasn't enough. I woke shaking, the knife untouched, the radio still playing. I journaled, "Closer yet. Can't run. What's next?" The next day I called in sick first. I sat at the kitchen table, coffee cold, and opened the forum. A new post caught my eye. Someone recommending therapy. A sleep specialist in town. I bookmarked it, my heart racing. Therapy meant saying it out loud to a stranger. But the silhouette was winning, and I was out of moves. As I closed the laptop, the scrape came again, louder, and the silhouette's voice whispered from somewhere inside me, "You're not ready."
The whisper, "You're not ready," hung in the air like smoke after a fire. I'm Sarah Whitaker, 29, forest ranger in Missoula, Montana, and my apartment was no longer a home. It was a ring where I fought every night. The silhouette, Dad's shape, was closer each time, his voice louder, his words sharper. Sleep hygiene had failed. Blackout curtains, routines, apps, all useless against the weight of him. The forum kept me afloat, Jess's calls kept me grounded, but I was drowning in my own head. That scrape at the window, the silhouette's hand inches from my face, the way it called me weak, it was winning. I called in sick again a second day, and Maria texted, "Take care of yourself, Sarah." I stared at the message, my thumb hovering, and for the first time, I wanted to tell someone. Not Jess, not the forum. Someone here, someone real. I dragged myself to the ranger station anyway, needing the routine, the distraction. The office was quiet, just Maria at the desk and Tom from maintenance fixing a leaky faucet. I'd buried myself in paperwork, mapping burn scars from last summer, my eyes burning from no sleep. Jake swung by around noon, his Carhartt jacket dusted with sawdust from the trail project. "Heard you're under the weather," he said, leaning in the doorway. "Want to grab lunch? My treat." I hesitated, my stomach nodding. Food sounded good, but talking? Risky. But his grin was easy, his eyes kind, and I was tired of walls. "Sure," I said, grabbing my coat. We walked to The Shack, a diner on West Broadway, all checkered floors and bottomless coffee. The place was warm, smelling of bacon and syrup, locals chatting over a plate of hash browns. We slid into a booth, ordered burgers, and Jake talked about Scout, his dog who'd stolen a sandwich off his counter. I laughed, real laughter, the kind I hadn't felt in weeks. The food came, greasy and perfect, and I ate like I was starving. Jake watched me, amused. "You're human after all," he said. I rolled my eyes, but the knot in my chest loosened. Missoula outside the window is a lie. Cars splashing through puddles, kids on bikes, the river glinting under a weak sun. For a moment, I was just Sarah, not the girl fighting shadows. But the moment didn't last. Jake asked, "So what's really gone on? You been off?" I froze, fork halfway to my mouth. The diner noise faded, the clink of plates and murmur of voices distant. I could lie, say it's stress, the off-season, anything. But his eyes were steady, waiting, no pressure. I set the fork down, my hands clammy. "It's hard to explain," I started, my voice low. "I don't sleep much. Bad dreams." He nodded, didn't interrupt.
I took a breath, the words fighting to get out. It's this thing called sleep paralysis. I wake up, can't move, and I see stuff. Someone. My throat tightened, the silhouette's face flashing in my mind. Jake leaned forward, his voice soft. Like hallucinations? I nodded, surprised he knew the word. Yeah, it's my dad. He's been dead 10 years, but he's there, in my room, saying my name, saying I let him die. That word spilled out raw, like I'd ripped open a wound. I waited for him to laugh, to change the subject, but he didn't. That sounds terrifying, he said. No pity, just real. You talk to anyone about it? I told him about the forum, Jess, the failed routines. I'm trying, I said, but it's getting worse. He's closer every night. Jake didn't flinch. My sister had nightmares after our mom passed. Took her a while to talk about it. You're doing that now. That's huge. I blinked, tears stinging, unexpected. The waitress refilled our coffee, oblivious, and I sipped it, the bitterness grounding me. I feel crazy, I admitted, like I'm making it up. Jake shook his head. You're not. It's your brain, Sarah, not you. You're stronger than you think. His words hit hard, not because they were new, but because he meant them. For the first time, saying it out loud didn't feel like a defeat. It felt like a door cracking open. We paid and walked back to the ranger station, the air cold but clean. Jake bumped my shoulder. Anytime you need to talk, I'm here, no judgment. I nodded, my chest lighter. Thanks. Work was easier after that, filing records, answering emails, my hands steadier. I texted Jess about the lunch now I'd spilled to Jake. She replied, Proud of you, that's a game changer. The forum buzzed with new posts, people sharing their own breakthroughs. I posted, told a friend today, didn't explode, he gets it. Replies flooded in, encouragement, stories, hope. I wasn't alone, not anymore. That night I was cautious, but not scared. I skipped the blackout curtains, left the lamp on, the radio playing low. I made chili, ate at the table, journal open. I wrote about Jake, the diner, the way his eyes didn't dodge when I said, Dad. Talking helped, felt real. I texted Jake a simple, thanks again. He sent a dog emoji, Scout's face. I laughed, set the phone down, and tried for bed. The routine was looser, no app, no strict schedule, just tea and a walk. I fell asleep fast, the apartment quiet except for the radiator's hum. The paralysis hit around 2:30 a.m., pulling me under like always. The silhouette was there at the bed's edge, closer than ever, its hand almost touching my arm. Sarah, it said, the voice thick with whiskey and anger. You think talking fixes this? My heart raced, the weight on my chest crushing. But I wasn't the same Sarah. I thought of Jake, his steady voice, Jess's texts, the forum stories. I breathed, 4 in, 4 hold, 4 out, and talked back in my head. You're not him. I'm not weak. The silhouette flinched, its outline blurring. You left me, it growled, but weaker, like it was losing steam. I focused on my hand, picturing Jake's grin, the diner's warmth. My finger twitched faster than before. The voice came again, Sarah, you're nothing. But I pushed back. I'm enough. My arm moved, the paralysis cracking. I gasped, sitting up, the lamp still on, the room empty. The clock read 2:42 a.m., my fastest yet. I grabbed my journal, hands steady. Told Jake. Shadow fought back, but I did too. Talking's power. I underlined power, the word solid, real. The pine scraped at the window, but it was just the tree, just the wind. Morning came bright, the mountains sharp against a blue sky. I met Jess for coffee again, told her everything. Jake, the diner, the fight in my head. You're rewriting the script, she said, smiling. I felt it, a shift, like the silhouette was losing ground. Brooke was busy, planning spring patrols, training schedules. Jake stopped by and tossed me a protein bar. How's the night shift? He asked, winking. I laughed. Better. I posted on the forum, talking to a friend changed things. Shadow's weaker. Keep fighting. The replies were a chorus. You got this, Sarah. But that night, as I locked the door, the radiator quiet for once,
A new sound cut through the soft thud from the bedroom like something heavy settling. The silhouette was waiting, and it had something new to say.
The thud from the bedroom echoed in my skull all day, like a warning shot. I'm Sarah Whitaker, 29, forest ranger in Missoula, Montana, and my apartment was starting to feel like a house with a pulse. Radiator clanking, pine scraping. Now something heavy moving when I wasn't looking. Talking to Jake had been a breakthrough, a crack in the wall I'd built around the sleep paralysis, the silhouette, Dad's voice. The forum and Jess kept me steady, but that sound, that thud was new, and it rattled me. I went to work anyway, needing the structure, the distraction of trail reports and fire maps. Maria handed me a stack of permits, her eyes lingering. "You're looking better," she said. I forced a smile. Getting there. But inside, I was bracing for night. The day was busy. Phone calls with the Forest Service office in Helena, updating burn area data, a quick patrol to check a gate near Lolo. The woods were my sanctuary. The crunch of gravel under my boots, the smell of damp earth and pine. Jake texted about a group hike this weekend, a bunch of rangers hitting the bitter roots. I said yes, craving the company, the daylight. But as I drove back to town, the sky churning that deep Montana blue, the thud came back to me. Was it the wardrobe shifting, a box falling, or was the silhouette getting bolder, moving things when I wasn't there to see? I'd bookmarked the sleep specialist from the forum, a therapist in town, Dr. Elena Marquez, who did sliding scale sessions for folks like me, scraping by in the off-season. Jess had pushed me to call, and after Jake's lunch, I was ready to try. I dialed from the Subaru, parked outside the co-op, my hands sweaty on the wheel. The receptionist was kind, slotted me in for tomorrow afternoon. "First step," I texted Jess. She sent a fist bump emoji. I posted on the forum, "Booked therapy. Nervous, but doing it. Anyone try it?" Replies poured in. Some said it helped. Others warned it digs up stuff you're not ready for. I wasn't sure I was ready, but the silhouette wasn't giving me a choice. That night, I kept it simple. No routine, just real life. I cooked stir-fry, the sizzle of vegetables loud in the quiet apartment. I called my aunt, let her talk about her garden, her church friends. Her voice was a tether, pulling me back to something softer than Dad's anger. I texted Jake about the hike, laughed at his reply about Scout stealing his socks. The apartment felt warmer, the radiator humming like an old friend. I left the lamp on, the radio playing low, and slid into bed with my journal, therapy tomorrow, thud in the bedroom, Jake's hike this weekend. Feeling okay. I underlined okay, willing it to be true. Sleep came slow, my mind buzzing with what-ifs. Would Dr. Marquez think I'm crazy? Would the silhouette shut up if I spilled it all? The paralysis hit just after 3 a.m. No warning, no mercy. My body locked, my breath shallow, and the lamp's glow, dim but steady. The silhouette was there, not at the bed's edge this time, but in the room, standing by the wardrobe, its outline sharp, Dad's flannel and boots almost real. A thud came again, soft but deliberate, like it had dropped something. "Sarah," it said, the voice calm now, almost kind, which was worse. "You're fighting the wrong thing." My heart pounded, the weight on my chest familiar but heavier, like it was feeding on my hope.
I tried to breathe. 4 in, 4 hold, 4 out. But the panic was quick, my lungs tight. The silhouette stepped closer, its hand reaching, not touching, but close enough to feel. It said, "It's not me you're scared of." The words slow, deliberate. My mind reeled. Jake's voice, Jess's texts, the forum stories all drowned out. I was 12 in the trailer, 19 in the woods, 29 in this apartment, all at once. The guilt, the fear, the weak it had called me. It was mine, not his. The thud came again, louder from the wardrobe, like something inside was pushing to get out. I wanted to scream, to run, but I was stuck, my eyes locked on the silhouette's shadowed face. I thought of therapy, of spilling this tomorrow, and pushed back in my head. I'm trying. I'm enough. The silhouette paused, its hand hovering. It's talking. Won't fix you, it said, but its voice cracked like it was losing power. I breathed harder, picturing Dr. Marquez's office, Jake's grin, the hike this weekend. My finger twitched, my hand followed. The paralysis broke, and I gasped, sitting up, the lamp flickering. The wardrobe was still, the room empty, but the air felt charged, like a storm had passed. I grabbed my journal, hand steady, said, "It's me I'm scared of." Thud from the wardrobe, fought back, therapy tomorrow. The clock read 3:11 a.m., fast as could get. I didn't feel victorious, just raw, like I'd been cracked open. I couldn't stay in bed. I moved to the couch, blanket tight, and opened the wardrobe for the first time since moving in. It creaked, heavy, full of old hangers and a musty smell. Nothing else, just dust and shadows. No thud, no silhouette, and laughed, shaken, and closed it. The pine scraped the window, real time, the wind picking up. I made tea, sat at the table, and scrolled the forum. A new reply to my therapy post. "It'll hurt, but it's worth it. You're brave." I saved it, my eyes stinging. Dawn Tim, the mountains pink and gold, and I felt a flicker of something. Hope, maybe? Or just exhaustion. The therapy session was at 2 in a small office near the university, all beige walls and plants. Dr. Marquez was older, maybe 50, with kind eyes and a voice like warm coffee. I sat on the couch, my hands twisted in my lap, and started talking. The trailer, Dad's drinking, finding him dead, the paralysis, the silhouette, the voice, the thud, the guilt, the forum, Jake, Jess. It poured out, messy, my voice cracking. She listened, nodding, no judgment. "It sounds like stress and trauma manifesting," she said when I finished. "Your brain's stuck in a loop, replaying unresolved grief. The sleep paralysis is the stage, but the story's yours." I wanted to believe her, but it felt too simple. "Stress?" I said, my voice sharp. "It's him. It's Dad. He's there saying I killed him." She leaned forward, calm. "It's your mind giving form to the guilt you carry. He's not there, Sarah. You are." I shook my head, tears coming now. She don't get it. It's real. She didn't argue, just handed me a tissue. "Let's work on it together. Breathing, journaling, maybe EMDR down the line. You're not alone." The session ended, and I left feeling raw, not fixed. Stress. It wasn't enough. Driving home, I was angry. At her, at myself, at the silhouette.
The forum had warned me therapy digs deep, and I wasn't ready for stress to be the answer. I texted Jess. Therapy was meh, said it was stress, don't buy it. She replied, give it time, first sessions suck. Jake called about the hike, sensed my mood. Rough day. I didn't tell him about therapy, just said, yeah. That night I skipped routines, left lights on, radio blaring. The paralysis came anyway. The silhouette by the wardrobe, a thud louder than before. Sarah, it said almost laughing, she's wrong. It's us. I fought, breathed, broke free fast, but its words stuck. I journaled. Therapist says stress. Shadow says no. Thought again. Who's right? The pine scraped, the radiator clanked, and I knew the fight was far from over.
The silhouette's laugh, she's wrong, it's us, rang in my ears long after I broke free. I'm Sarah Whitaker, 29, forest ranger in Missoula, Montana, and therapy had cracked me open, but not in the way Dr. Marquez promised. Stress? That's what she called it, like my dad's voice, the thud from the wardrobe, the silhouette getting closer was just a bad habit. I didn't buy it. The forum agreed. Posts about therapy digging too shallow, shadows needing more than talk. Jess said give it time. Jake offered another hike, but I was fraying. The apartment's walls closing in with every clank of the radiator, every scrape of the pine. That night after therapy, I barely slapped the silhouette, waiting, mocking. Us, it said, me and Dad, bound in guilt. I journaled it, underlined us, but it didn't help. The fight was coming, and I wasn't ready. The group hike with the Rangers was my escape. Saturday morning, crisp and clear, the Bitterroots calling. Jake picked me up in his truck, Scout in the back, tail wagging. Maria, Tom, a few others piled in, 8 of us total, packs loaded with sandwiches and water. The trail up to Morel Falls was muddy from recent rain, the air thick with pine and wet earth. We laughed, swapped stories about bear sightings, the time Tom got lost in the dark. I kept up, my boots splashing, the rhythm pushing the silhouette back. At the falls, water crashing white against rocks, we ate on logs, the mist cooling my face. Jake sat next to me, bumping my shoulder. You good? I nodded, real this time. Yeah, thanks for dragging me out. The group felt like family, the kind I never had. For hours I forgot the nights. But Missoula pulls you back. Driving home, the truck rumbling over potholes, the thud echoed in my mind. Jake dropped me off, waved. Call if you need. I promised, but the apartment door clicked shut like a trap. The radiator hummed, the pine scraped, and the wardrobe loomed in the bedroom corner, silent but heavy. I cooked pasta, ate alone, the radio filling the quiet. I texted Jess. Hike was great, but home's hard. She replied, one day at a time. The forum had a new thread, someone's worst episode, hands on throat, near blackout. I read it, heart sinking. Sounds familiar, I posted. Replies, breathe through it, you're stronger. I wanted to believe them. Bedtime came, and I armored up, lamp on, journal ready, window open a crack for air. No routine, just survival. I lay there, staring at the ceiling cracks, thinking of the falls, Jake's laugh, the group's chatter. Sleep crept in heavy, and the paralysis slammed down. My body locked, breath shallow, the lamps glow yellow and weak. The silhouette was there, not by the wardrobe, not at the bed's edge, but on me. Dad shape scrattled my chest, knees penning my arms in his hands, cold, rough, calloused from years of manual labor, closing around my throat. Sarah, he growled, fingers tightening, you let me die. Panic exploded, a wildfire in my veins. I couldn't breathe. I couldn't move, the weight crushing his thumbs, pressing my windpipe. The room spun, the lamp blurring, the pint scrape drowned by my pounding heart. The station's clear now, shadowed but real. Stubble, bloodshot eyes, the scar on his cheek from a bar fight. You slept in that morning, he said, voice rasping through the chokehold. You knew I was bad. You laughed me.
Flashes hit the kitchen. The trailer, his bottle clanking the woods, his body cold, my hand shaking on the phone. Guilt choked me harder than his hands, my vision spotting black lungs screaming for air. I fought, breathe, 4 in, 4 out, but no air came, his grip iron. Weak, he whispered closer, his whiskey breath hot. Just like me. Tears streamed, silent, my body betraying me. The forum, Jess, Jake, Dr. Marquez, all faded. I was 12 hiding, 19 failing, 29 breaking. The hand squeezed my throat, burning the world and everything to pain. I thought, this is it, the end, trapped forever. No more hikes, no more woods, just darkness. Then a spark, Jake's voice, you're stronger. I pushed in my head, let go, you're not him. The silhouette flickered, hands loosening a fraction. I gasped, tiny air slipping in. I'm enough. His grip slipped more, fingers cold but weakening. I tried. The thumbs eased, my chest heaving. I'm sorry, but it's not my fault. The silhouette recoiled, hands rigs up, its face twisting in range. I breathed, ragged, my finger twitching. The paralysis cracked. I bolted up, coughing, clawing at my throat, red marks blooming under my nails. The room was empty, the lamp steady, the wardrobe still. I gasped for air, sobs racking me, collapsing to the floor. The clock 3:05 a.m. I crawled to the journal, scrawled, hands on throat, worst ever, almost black out, fought with words, broke free. Ink smeared with tears of rock, the radiator clanking like a heartbeat, the pine scraping, sympathy. Breakdown hit. Sobs for Dad, for me, for the girl in the trailer. I cried until empty, the floor cold under me. Dawn found me there, eyes swollen, throat raw. I texted Jess at 6 a.m. Worst night, hands on throat, broke down. She called, her voice urgent. Come over now. I dove to her place in the Rattlesnake, a cozy cabin with books and plants. She hugged me, made tea, listened as I spilled, the hands, the chokehold, the fight. She said, you survived. That's victory. I didn't feel it, but her arms helped. The forum post, hands on throat tonight, thought I died, talked back, broke free, cried after. Is this normal? Flood of support. Yes, let it out. You're winning. Jake texted me, hike tomorrow, Scat misses you. I said yes, needing the woods. Work was light, Maria sending me home early, rest. I slept on Jess's couch, dreamless. Night came and I went home scared, but standing. The Paralysis skid, silhouette looming, but no hands yet. Sarah, it whispered, next time. A skip worked the next day, called it a migraine. Maria understood. Just kept me company. We walked her dog along the river, the water rushing fast, leaves gold in the sun. Crying was good, she said. It's release. I nodded, throat still sore. The marks faded to bruises, hidden under my flounder. I posted photos on the forum, or just described them. Bruises from clawing, real. Replies, self-defense, proud of you. Jake picked me up for the hike, just us and Scott. The trail to Patty Canyon was quiet. Bird calling, scout bounding ahead. We talked about the sisters' nightmares, my dad's drinking. You're not him, he said. Simple. I believed him, a little. Home that night I braced, lap on, journal open, tea steaming. Sleep came, and the paralysis did too. The silhouette was at the bed, hands raised. Sarah, you probe, but I'm not done. Weight on chest, fingers ghosting my throat. I breathed, pushed, your guilt, not Dad. It squeezed lightly, testing. I thought harder. I forgive you. Forgive me. The hands dropped, silhouette fading. I woke gasping, but calm. Journal, almost hands again. Forgave. Easier. Face blurred. Therapy follow-up. Dr. Marquez listening to the chokehold. I'm a breakthrough, she said. Still doubted, but went back. Jess and Jake became anchors, the forum of my army. Hikes twice a week, coffee with Jess, scout visits, the silhouette weekend, whisper softer, but one night it roared back, hands full forced, and I blacked out for seconds. Waking in tears, breakdown, round 2. Curled on the floor, slobbing, Jess came over, help me. You're healing, it hurts. The worst was over, or so I thought. Forum post, chokehold again, blackout, but fought, bruises gone. Support poured. Jake cooked dinner, pasta like mom's. Stay strong. I did.
But the wardrobe thudded once more aloud, and the silhouette whispered, "Journal it all. Pattern is weight."
The wardrobe's thud was my alarm clock now, a signal that the night wasn't done with me. I'm Sarah Whitaker, 29, forest ranger in Missoula, Montana, and the chokehold episode had broken something open. Tears, bruises, a rawness I couldn't hide under flannel anymore. Jess, Jake, the forum, even Dr. Marquez, they were my lifelines pulling me through the worst nights. The silhouette, dad shape, was weaker after I forgave, but it wasn't gone. It whispered, tested, waited. The thud said patterns, and the form's advice echoed. Journal everything. Track the triggers, the words, the times. I'd been scribbling after episodes, but now I committed. Pen and notebook by the bed, ready even when I was frozen. If I could map this thing, maybe I could beat it. I started the day slow, throat still tender from the last chokehold. Missoula was golden, leaves falling along the Clark Fork, the air crisp with wood smoke from someone's chimney. I skipped work again, third day, Maria texting, "Take what you need," and met Jess at the library where she worked. Her desk was a nest of books and coffee mugs, a quiet corner smelling of paper and ink. "You look like hell," she said, but her smile was soft. I laughed, hoarse. "Feel like it." We grabbed lattes from the cafe downstairs, sat in the courtyard, the fountain bubbling. I showed her my journal, pages crammed with dates, times, silhouettes, words. "Trying to find patterns," I said. She nodded, flipping through. "Smart. My mom's shadow always came after fights with my brother. Stress spikes." Back home, I spread the journal on the kitchen table, coffee steaming beside me. I listed every episode I could remember, starting at 12 in the trailer, ramping up after Dad's death, worsening this year. Times, always 2:30 to 3:30 a.m. Triggers, stress, deadlines, off-season money worries, skipping routines, sleeping on my back. The silhouette's words, "You left me. Weak. You killed me. It's us." I underlined us, my pen digging in. The thud was new, only the last month, always from the wardrobe. I opened it again. Dust, hangers, nothing. But the sound was real, or real enough. I wrote, "Thud equals wardrobe." Why now? The forum had a thread on sounds, creaks, knocks, voices. One user said theirs was their brain externalizing guilt. I posted, "Journaling patterns, thud from closet, anyone track sounds?" Replies came fast. "Mine bangs when I avoid family calls. Check yours." I called my aunt. Heart pounding, she answered, cheerful, cats meowing in the background. "Sarah, been too long." We talked surface, her garden, my heights, but I pushed deeper. "Remember Dad's last year?" Her voice softened. "Hard times, honey. He was sick, not just drinking." I swallowed. "I feel guilty, like I could have saved him." She sighed. "You were a kid. He made his choices." The call ended warm, but the guilt lingered, a stone in my gut. I journaled. "Aunt says not my fault. Thud tonight." The pine scraped, the radiator clanked, and I poised for bed. I set up like a scientist. Lamp low, journal open, pen uncapped, phone recording audio in case I caught the thud. Tea, no screens, walk around the block under streetlights. Missoula was quiet, stars sharp overhead, the river murmuring. I texted Jake, "Journaling like a detective, wish me luck." He sent a flashlight emoji. In bed, I lay on my side, not my back. Forum tech. Sleep came and the paralysis followed, locking me tight. The silhouette was by the wardrobe, clearer. Dad's flannel vivid. A thud, loud from inside. "Sarah, you're digging too deep," it said, stepping closer. My chest weighed a ton, breathed shallow, but the journal was there, inches away. I focused, right in your head, and recited, 3:12 a.m., thud first, then voice. The silhouette loomed, hand raised. "Stop looking," it growled. I breathed, floor, 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 and wrote, Says stop. Guilt about Aunt Call? The thud came again, the wardrobe shaking. My heart raced, but I kept going. Pattern. Thud after family talk. The silhouette's face twisted, scar clear. You can't fix us. I pushed. I'm trying. My finger twitched, pen rolling closer. I wrote in my mind, us equals me plus guilt. The silhouette lunged, hand near my throat, but I held the pattern. Thud equals avoidance. Voice equals blame. It hesitated, flickering. I breathed, my hand moving, grabbing the pen. The paralysis cracked, and I woke scribbling real words. 3:18 a.m. Thud X2. Voice after Aunt. Pattern. Family stress. The wardrobe was still, the room empty, but the air buzzed. I flicked on the light, checked the wardrobe. Nothing moved. The audio caught it. 2 thuds, clear as day. Proof. I cleared it back, heart pounding, and posted to the forum. Recorded thud. Journaled during. Pattern. Family stress. Anyone else? Replies exploded. Yes, mine knocks after mom fights. Keep tracking. Morning was electric. I emailed Dr. Marquez the audio, the journal pages. She replied, fascinating. Bring it next session. I met Jake for coffee, showed him the notebook. You're a badass, he said, grinning. I laughed, real. Work called. Spring planning, my first day back. Maria hugged me. Missed you. The woods felt alive, my boots sure on a trail. I hide solo, checking cams, the patterns clear in my head. Stress, family, avoidance. I text my aunt, thanks for the talk, love you. No thud that night, you bet. But the nights weren't done. I journaled every detail. Food, mood, weather. Pattern sharpened. Caffeine late equals worse episodes. Hikes equaled better. Jake or dress talks equaled softer silhouette. The thud came only after I dodged something. Those memories, calls. One night, I skipped calling my aunt, and the paralysis hit hard. Thud, thud. Silhouette at the bed. Sarah, you're hiding. I journaled mid-episode. Hiding from Aunt, gill spike. It backed off, voice fading. I woke and wrote, pattern confirmed. Face it equals weaker shadow. Therapy shifted. Dr. Mark has loved the data. You're mapping your trauma, she said. This is control. I still side-eyed stressed, but the patterns were mine. Jess and I met weekly, comparing journals. Jake joined sometimes, his sister's nightmares in his notes. The forum crowned me, pattern queen. I posted charts, times, triggers, thud counts, replies, you're saving us. The silhouette thought, Joko light, whispered loud, but I journal through, breaking free faster. One episode, I wrote, you're me, I see you. It vanished mid-sentence. The wardrobe thudded less. The pine scraped normal. The radiator sang. I hiked with Jake, scout leading, and told him about the patterns. You're rewriting the rules, he said. I believed it. But one night, the silhouette returned. No thud, just a whisper. You see me, but I see deeper. My journal caught it, and a new pattern emerged, something older than Dad.
The whisper, I see deeper, wasn't Dad's voice anymore. It was mine, older, colder, coming from inside the bones. I'm Sarah Whitaker, 29, forest ranger in Missoula, Montana, and the journal had become my weapon. Pages of patterns, triggers, thuds, times. The silhouette was shrinking, the chokeholds gone, the wardrobe quiet most nights. Jess called it progress, Jake called it badass, Dr. Marquez called it control. But that whisper cracked the map wide open. It wasn't just Dad's guilt anymore. It was something buried further back, before the trailer, before the drinking, before the woods. The journal caught it, the audio caught the silence after, and I knew the next episode would dig into the root. I spent the day in the woods, solo patrol up the Rattlesnake, checking winter damage on the trails. The air was sharp, snow crusting the higher elevations, the creek running fast under ice. My boots crunched, my breath fogged, and I felt strong. Journal in my pack, pen clipped to the cover. I stopped at a clearing, sat on a log, and flipped to the last page. I see deeper.
No thud, no choke. New voice. I underlined new, heart thumping. The forum had warned me, when the surface guilt fades, the deeper stuff rises. One user wrote, my shadow switched from dad to the bully who broke me at 10. Same shape, new words. I posted, silhouette changed voice. Says, I see deeper. Anyone's shadow evolve? Replies rolled in. Mine went from mom to childhood accident. Brace. Back in town, I met Dr. Marquez for an extra session. Her office smelled of lavender and paper, the couch softer than my resolve. I played the audio, silence, then the whisper, my own voice, aged 10 years. She leaned in. That's you, Sarah, the part you locked away. I shook my head. It's Dad. She smiled, gentle. Shapes change. The story's yours. I left angry, the journal heavy in my pack. Just texted. Coffee? We met at the Butterfly, steam fogging the windows, her hands wrapped around a mug. I told her about the voice. She said mine did that too. Mom became the foster mom who hit me. Same shape, new words. I swallowed. What was it? She looked out the window. The first time I felt worthless, aged 9. My stomach dropped. That night I prepared like a soldier. Journal open, pen ready, lamp low, window cracked for air. I hiked with Jake earlier, Petite Canyon, Scout leading, leaves crunching. He sensed my mood. Pattern shifting? I nodded. Deeper stuff. He squeezed my shoulder. You've got this. Home, I cooked chili, ate slow, radio on low. I called my aunt and asked about Mom, why she left, what I was like at 8, 9. She said, you were quiet. Dad was rough even then. You hid in books. I journaled, quiet kid, hiding. Root. The radiator hummed, the pine scraped, and I slit into bed, side sleeping, journal under my hand. The paralysis hit at 2:58 a.m., smooth as a trap, body locked, breath shallow, the room dim but sharp. The silhouette stood by the wardrobe, no thud, no choke, just still. Taller than Dad, slimmer, younger, my shape, age 12. Sarah, it said, my voice, cracked and small. You think Dad was the start? My heart stuttered. The journal was there, pen in reach. I wrote in my head. 2:58, new shape, me at 12. It stepped closer. Barefoot, flannel nightgown I'd forgotten I owned. Remember the closet? It whispered. Memory slammed. Trailer, age 9. Dad drunk, yelling at Mom before she left for good. I hid in the closet, knees to chest. Door cracked, his boots pacing. He found me, dragged me out, belt in hand. Stop crying, useless. The sting, the dark, the silence after. I'd buried it, told myself it was normal. The silhouette knelt by the bed, eyes mine, tears mine. You hid, it said, and let her go. Guilt, older than Dad's death, roar. My chest crushed, not by hands, but by the memory's weight. I breathed 4, 4, 4, and wrote closet, age 9. Mom left. My fault. The silhouette's hand touched my cheek, cold, trembling. You were small, you froze. She never came back. Tears leaked, silent. I was 9, 12, 19, 29, layers peeling. The voice softened. You think saving Dad would fix this? I pushed. I was a kid. It flickered. I couldn't stop him. The shape wavered, nightgown fading. I wrote. Pattern hiding is paralysis. Face it is freedom. My finger moved, pen rolling. The paralysis cracked, and I woke up gasping, scribbling real. 2:59 to 3:04, me at 9, closet, Mom left, hid, froze. The room was empty, the wardrobe still, the pine quiet. I played the audio, my whisper clear. You let her go. I sat on the floor, journal open, tears falling on the page. The root wasn't Dad's death. It was the closet, the belt, the silence that taught me to disappear. I texted Jess at 3:30. It's me at 9. Closet, Mom left. She called, voice thick with sleep. That's the core, Sarah. You're there.
I cried, not breakdown, but release. Dawn painted the mountains pink, and I journaled, pattern complete. Hiding equals paralysis. Face it equals freedom. Therapy the next day, Dr. Marquez listened to the audio, read the pages. This is the trauma, not stress, powerlessness. I nodded in tears again. Jake hiked with me, scout bounding. I told him the closet. He listened, no fix, just there. The forum crowned the post, too. Root found, age 9, closet, hid from Dad. Mom left, journaled through, silhouette, me. Replies, you're free. That night the paralysis came soft. The silhouette, me at 9, stood by the bed, smiling. You see me, it whispered. I wrote, I do. I'm sorry. It faded, no fight. I woke calm, journal full. She's me, forgiven. But the next night, no silhouette, just a new voice, older, mine at 19. The morning I found Dad, and the wardrobe creaked open on its own.
The wardrobe creaking open on its own wasn't a thud anymore. It was an invitation. I'm Sarah Whitaker, 29, forest ranger in Missoula, Montana, and the journal had led me to the root. Me at 9, hiding in the closet, frozen while Mom walked out, and Dad's belt found my back. The silhouette of little Sarah had smiled and faded, forgiven, but the next voice, mine at 19, the morning I found Dad cold in the woods, pulled the door wider. You were too late, it said, and the darkness inside the wardrobe wasn't empty. It was full of the day I failed him. The paralysis had evolved, the patterns clear, but this was the final layer, and I knew what I had to do. Call Mom. I woke from that episode at 3:07 a.m., journal already open, pen scratching, 3:05, wardrobe opened, voice equals me at 19, too late, roots equals Dad's death morning. The air was cold, the pines silent, the radiator still. I checked the wardrobe, door ajar, hanger swing, nothing else. I pushed it shut, heart pounding, and sat on the bed, staring at the page. The form had prepared me. When one shadow fades, the next rises. I posted, little me gone, now 19-year-old me. Wardrobe opened itself, calling Mom tomorrow. Anyone face the last family ghost? Replies came before dawn. Did it, Mom answered, cried for hours, worth it. Brace, it's the boss fight. Morning was gray, snow flurries dusting the mountains. I texted Jess, calling Mom today, scared. She replied, I'll be on standby. Jake offered a hike, but I needed quiet. I drove to the river, parked near the bridge, the Clark Fork, rushing brown and fast. I hadn't spoken to Mom in 8 years, not since she sent a Christmas card with a Billings postmark and no return address. Dad said she was selfish, that she left us to rot. I believed him then. Now, with the journal full of patterns, I wasn't sure. I found her number through my aunt. Same landline. Miracle, it still worked. My thumb hovered, breath fogging the windshield. I dialed. She answered on the third ring, voice older, hesitant. Hello? Mom, it's Sarah. Silence, then a gasp. Sarah! Oh, God! We cried, me in the Subaru, her in Billings, the line crackling. I thought you hated me, she said. I swallowed. I did. Then I didn't know. She told me everything, Dad's threats, the night she packed while I slept, the guilt that kept her away. I was scared it'd hurt you worse if I took you. I told her about the closet, the belt, the woods, the silhouette. I see you both, I said in my sleep. I freeze. You left. He died. I was too late. She sobbed. I'm sorry, baby. I was weak. We talked 2 hours. Her new life, stepdad gone, cats, a garden, my ranger work, Missoula, Jess, Jake. She said, come visit. I promised soon. Hanging up, I felt hollowed, lighter. I journaled in the car, called Mom, cried. She's sorry, I'm sorry. Pattern, abandonment plus failure equals paralysis. The river rushed, snow melting on the hood. I drove home, the apartment warmer, the radiator welcoming. I posted audio of the call, edited, just my side, to the forum. Mom talk, root exposed, wardrobe next. Replies, you're unstoppable. That night I faced it. Journal open, pen ready, lamp low, wardrobe door propped with a shoe. Open, daring. I texted Mom good night, first time ever.
Sleep came fast, the paralysis faster. Body locked, breath shallow, the room sharp. The wardrobe glowed faintly. The silhouette inside, me at 19, gas station uniform, eyes red from crying. Sarah, it said, my voice broken. You slept in. He called. You ignored. Memory hit. Phone buzzing at 6 a.m. Dad's name. B rolling over. Late shift the night before. By noon, he was dead. The silhouette stepped out. Boots heavy. Hands shaking like mine that day. Too late, it whispered. Closer. Weight on my chest, but no choke. I wrote in my head, 3:02, me at 19, slept in, ignored call. It knelt, face inches away. You could have saved him. Tears leaked. I breathed, 4, 4, 4, and pushed. I was exhausted. I was a kid. The silhouette flickered. He toes the bottle. Its hands rose, ghosting my throat, but soft. Forgive me, it said. Not blame, plea. I wrote, forgive us both. The weight lifted, the silhouette fading to mist. My hand moved, pen real, scribbling, forgive 19-year-old me, wardrobe open. The paralysis broke at 3:06, record time. I woke calm, no tears, just peace. The wardrobe was open, hanger still. Dust settled, I closed it, gentle. Journal, root taste, mom called, self at 19, forgiven. Silence. The pine scraped, the radiator sang, Missoula slept. I texted Mom, love you. She replied, love you more. Dawn was gold, the mountain sharp. I hiked with Jake and Scout and told him everything. Mom, the call, the 19-year-old me. He listened. Scout licking my hand. You're free, he said. I felt it. Therapy with Dr. Marquez. Integration, she called it. The forum crowned the post. Called Mom. Face last family ghost. Wardrobe closed. Who's next? That night, no paralysis, just sleep. Deep, dreamless. But in the quiet, a new whisper, barely there. Now breathe.
The whisper, now breathe, wasn't a threat, it was a dare. I'm Sarah Whitaker, 29, forest ranger in Missoula, Montana, and the wardrobe had gone quiet. The silhouette of 19-year-old me dissolved after Mom's call, after forgiveness. The journal was thick now, patterns mapped, roots faced. Closet at 9, woods at 19, Mom's absence, Dad's death. The paralysis still came, but softer, like an echo looking for a wall. Jess called it the final boss, Jake called it overtime, Dr. Marquez called it integration. I called it breathing room. The forum crowned me root slayer, but the whisper said the fight wasn't over. It was time to learn how to fight back for real, not just survive. I woke from that whisper episode at 3:03 a.m., journal open, pen already moving. 3:01, whisper, now breathe. No shape, no weight, first time no silhouette. The room was still, the pines silent, the radiator a soft lullaby. I sat up, no panic, just focus. The audio caught it, my own exhale, steady, then the whisper, faint but clear. I played it back, heart steady. Progress. I posted to the forum, no shadow, just whisper, now breathe, learning to fight. Breathing techniques? Replies flooded. Wim Hof, 478, box on steroids. Win user, Breathmaster77 dropped a link. Controlled hyperventilation plus hold. Pushes paralysis out. Try it. Morning was bright, snow melting off the mountains, the Clark Fork sparkling. I met Jez at the trailhead for a sunrise hike. Easy loop in the rattlesnake, coffee and thermoses. I told her about the whisper. It's handing you the reins, she said, boots crunching. Time to drive. We practiced on the trail, box breathing first, 4 in, 4 hold, 4 out, lungs full of pine air. Then 4, 7, 8. In 4, hold 7, out 8. My chest expanded, the cold sharp but clean. It feels like power, I said. She grinned. That's the point. Back home I researched Wim Hof app, YouTube tutorials, forum threads, and pushing oxygen to break the REM lock. I bookmarked, printed, and taped a cheat sheet to my nightstand. Breathe, fight, win. Dr. Marquez loved it, she said. Physiology plus psychology. Your rewiring. She taught me a variant, 5-5-5-5 square breathing, with a twist. Visualize the silhouette shrinking with each exhale. Jake joined the session, curious. He said, "Teach me." We practiced in her office, Scout waiting outside. I laughed mid-breath, the room spinning. "This is weird." "Word works," Jake said. The forum became my dojo. Daily check-ins, breath logs, progress charts. I posted. Learning to breathe, fight. Square plus hold, who's with me? Hundreds joined. That night I prepped like an athlete. Journal open, cheap sheet lit, lamp low, window cracked. I did a warm-up round. 10 square breaths, body loose. I texted Mom, learning to breathe. Love you. She sent a heart. Jake, kick its ass. Jess, you got this. Radio off, silence deck. I lay on my side, journal under hand, and invited sleep. The paralysis hit at 2:57 a.m. Familiar weight, breath shallow, but no shadow, no voice, just the dare. Now breathe. I started, 5 in through the nose, chest full, hold 5, out 5, slow, hold 5. The weight pressed, but I pushed Knox again, lungs burning. Visualize shadow small. Second round, faster, deeper. My fingers tingled, the REM lock creaking. Third round, 5, 5, 5, 5, exhale hissing like wind through pines. The weight lifted a fraction. I wrote in my head, 2:59, breathing, fight, weight, lighter. Fourth round, I hyperventilated. 30 quick breaths, hold, stars in my vision, body buzzing. The paralysis cracked. My toe moved, then foot. I gasped, sat up at 3:01, pen flying. First fight back, 4 minutes, 1. The room was empty, the wardrobe shut, pine still. I laughed, real, loud, echoing. Audio caught it, my breaths, the crack of the lock, my victory whoop. I posted at 3:05. Breathe through, 4 minutes, no shadow, I fought. The forum exploded. Gifts, cheers, breath logs. Jess called badass. Jake texted a fist bump. Mom sent praying hands. Dawn painted the mountains gold and I hiked solo, lungs full, boots flying. Work was electric. Maria promoted me to lead spring training. You're glowing, she said. I was. Nights became practice. I invited the paralysis, dared it, 2:55 a.m. Weight down, I breathed. Square, 478, hyperhold. Broke at 3 o'clock. Journal, 5 minutes, faster. Next night, 2:58, same. Broke at 3:02, no voice. The whisper returned once. Good. I breathed harder. Broke at 2:59. Journal, it's teaching me. The forum crowd me breath warrior. I taught Jess, Jay, even Dr. Marquez. Groove hikes turned breath sessions, circle on the trail, lungs sinking, laughter echoing. Scout barked approval. One night, the ultimate test. 3:01 a.m., paralysis heavy, silhouette faint, 19-year-old me in the corner. Sarah, breathe, it whispered. I smiled inside. Fight in, hold, out, hold. Oxygen flooded, the shape shrank. I wrote, you're me, I win. My hand moved, pen Rio, scribbling mid-fight. The silhouette dissolved, the weight gone. I woke at 3:03, calm, journal full, fought with breath, shadow gone, first full victory. Morning was triumphed. I called Mom, told her. She cried happy tears. Jay cooked breakfast, pancakes, Scout stealing bacon. Maria framed my breath cheat sheet. The forum post hit legendary, full victory, breath alone, shadow gone. Replies, you're the blueprint. Therapy ended. Dr. Marquez hugged me. You graduated. The wardrobe stayed shut. The pine sang. The radiator purred. Nights were mine. Sleep deep, dreams light. But one dawn, waking easy, a final whisper. Proud. Keep breathing.
The final whisper, keep breathing, wasn't a command anymore. It was a promise I made to myself. I'm Sarah Whitaker, 29, forest ranger in Missoula, Montana. And the nights had become my arena. The journal was a Bible now. Breath logs, victory times, patterns turned to power. The silhouette was gone. The wardrobe silent. The pine just wind. I'd breathed through the paralysis, fought with oxygen, broken the lock faster each time. Jess, Jake, Mom, the forum, they were my team. But the fight was mine. The last episode had ended at 3:03. The shadow dissolved mid-breath, my pen moving while still half frozen. Victory tasted like pine air and freedom. But the paralysis wasn't dead. It was waiting, testing if I'd slip. Tonight, I'd prove it wrong for good.
I woke that morning at 6. No alarm, just light through the curtains. The apartment smelled of coffee and possibility. I journaled before boots. No episode last night. First full sleep in months. Breath ready. The radiator hummed approval. The pine scraped a soft hello. I posted to the forum. Full sleep, no paralysis, breath on standby. Final test tonight? Replies poured in. End it. You're the champ. Jess texted a crown emoji. Jake called. Celebratory hike after work? I said yes. Mom sent a voice note. Her voice warm. Proud of you, baby. I played it twice, smiling. Work was spring prep. Chaining new seasonal rangers at the station. Mapping trails. My voice steady as I taught bear safety. Maria pulled me aside. You're leading the Bitterroot crew this summer, she said. Promotion. I grinned, the weight of it real. Lunch with Jake at the shack. Burgers, Scout under the table stealing fries. You're different, he said. Lighter. I nodded. Breathing changed everything. He taught Scout to breathe on command, panting on cue. We laughed until my sides hurt. Missoula sparkled. Snow gone, rivers high, the mountains calling. Afternoon therapy. Last official session. Dr. Marquez's office felt like home now. I showed her the logs. Episodes down from nightly to weekly. Break times from 10 minutes to under 1. She said, you've rewired your nervous system. The paralysis may still visit, but you're the boss. I hugged her goodbye, journal in hand. Thank you. She smiled. You did the work. The forum got the update. Therapy gride, boss of my brain. One more night. I prepped like a champion. Early dinner, salmon, rice, greens for oxygen. No caffeine after noon. Hike with Jess at dusk. Penguin Rock, the city lights twinkling below. We breathed together. Square, 748. Wim Hof holds. Lungs full of twilight. She said, you're ready. I believed her. Home, I called Mom. Told her about the promotion, the breath, the hope. She said, come to Billings soon. I will. Jake dropped by with Scout, a six-pack we didn't open. For tomorrow, he said. We sat on the porch, stars sharp, Scout on my lap. He said, whatever happens tonight, you've won. I nodded, throat tight. Bed at 10. Lamp low, journal open, cheat sheet glowing, audio recording. I did a warm-up, 20 square breaths, body loose, mind clear. I lay on my side, hand on the pen, and whispered to the dark, come if you dare. Sleep came deep, the apartment quiet, the pine singing. The paralysis hit at 2:51 a.m. Weight familiar, breath shallow, but no silhouette, no voice, no wardrobe creak. Just the lock, daring me. I smiled inside. Now. 5 in, hold 5. Out 5, hold 5. Lungs full, oxygen surging. The weight pressed, but I pushed. Visualize freedom. Second round, faster, deeper. My fingers tingled, the lock loosening. Third round, hyperventilate. 30 quick, hold. Blood roared, stars danced. The weight lifted. My toe twitched at 2:52. I wrote mid-breath, 2:52, no shadow, breath alone, breaking. Fourth round, 4, 7, 8, exhale long. My hand moved, pen reel, scribbling, early end. The paralysis shattered at 2:53, 2 minutes flat, earliest ever. I sat up, no gasp, just calm. The room was empty, the wardrobe check, the pine still. I laughed, soft, victorious, audio caught it. Breath steady, the crack of the lock, my quiet yes. Journal 2:51 to 2:53. Breath alone, no shadow, no voice. First, early end, victory. I posted at 2:55. Early end, 2 minutes. Breath 1, no paralysis left. The forum erupted. Caps, emojis, tears. Just called it 3. History. Jake texted a video of Scout howling. Mom said hearts. Dawn was gold.
The mountain's alive. I hype with the whole crew. Jake, Jess, Maria, Tom, Scout leading. We hit the M, the view endless, and I told them everything. Cheers echoed. Work was celebration. New Rangers clapping, Maria toasting with coffee. The forum post went viral in our corner. Early Ant, Breath Master, who's next? I taught a breathe clinic. Rangers in a circle, lungs sinking, laughter rising. Dr. Marquez got the audio. Proof. She replied, legend. Nights became mine. The paralysis visited twice more. Once at 3:10, broken at 3:13, once at 2:48, gone at 2:49. Journal, breath is king, paralysis bows. The silhouette never returned. The wardrobe stayed shut. The pines sang freedom. I visited Mom in Billings. Hugs, tears, garden walks. Jake and I dated, slow and real. Scout our chaperone. Jess and I started a breath group. Weekly meets, new fighters joining. The forum made me mod. Guide the lost. One night, months later, the paralysis came soft at 3:30. A whisper of weight, no voice, no shape. I breathed once, square, calm, and it vanished 3:31. I woke smiling. Journal final. Visitor not enemy. Breath sent it home. First true victory. The apartment glowed. Missoula slept, and I knew the war was won.
The war was won, but the battlefield never really empties. I'm Sarah Whitaker, 29, forest ranger in Missoula, Montana, and the paralysis had become a rare visitor, once a month, maybe less, a soft knock instead of a break-in. I'd breathed it out in under a minute the last time, journaled it calm, posted the win, the silhouette was gone, the wardrobe silent, the pine just weather. Mom visited, Jake moved in with Scout, Jess and I led breath circles every Thursday. The forum called me the architect. Dr. Marquez closed my file with a grin. Maintenance, not cure. I was living, not just surviving. But one night, the knock came different. No weight, no lock, just a presence, familiar, waiting to be let in. I woke at 2:47 a.m. without the freeze, heart steady, lamp still low. The room was quiet, but not empty. A shape sat at the foot of the bed. Not Dad, not little me, not 19-year-old me. Just me, now. Flannel and boots. Eyes older than 29. Lines from hikes and nights and tears. The shadow Sarah smiled, soft, no whisper, no blame. I didn't reach for the journal. I didn't breathe the fight. I just looked. Hey, I said, voice steady. It nodded like we'd planned this. I sat up slow, blanket pooling. You're not here to scare me. It shook its head. You're not guilt. Another no. You're me. A small smile, mind. The air smelled of pine and coffee, the radiator humming like a friend. I patted the bed. Sit. It did, weightless, the mattress unchanged. We sat in silence, Missoula sleeping outside, the pine brushing the window gently. I thought of the closet, the woods, Mom's call, the chokehold, the breath that broke it all. You were the alarm, I said. The part that wouldn't let me forget. It nodded, eyes kind. I don't need the alarm anymore. I remember. I forgive. I live. The shadow Sarah reached out, hand over mine, cold, then warm, then real. I'm not the enemy, it said, my voice calm. I'm the guard. I laughed soft. You kept me safe until I could keep myself. It smiled wider, lines crinkling. Job's done? A shrug. Shift change. I thought of Jake to sleep in the living room, Scout snoring, Mom's garden waiting in Billings, Jess's breath circle tomorrow, the new Rangers looking to me for strength. I said, you can stay. Not as a shadow, as part of the story. The shadow leaned in, forehead to mine, breath sinking, always was. Light filled the room, not lamp, not moon, just us. The shadow dissolved, not fading, but folding in, into my chest, my lungs, my laugh lines. I felt heavier, fuller,
whole. I lay back, no journal, no audio, no fight. Sleep came instant, deep, dreamless. Morning was gold, Jake's coffee smell drifting in, Scout's tail thumping. I woke smiling, no entry needed. The wardrobe stayed shut, the pine sang, the radiator purred. I posted one last time. Shadow came as me, accepted. No enemy, part of the whole, breathing easy. The forum wept happy tears, crowned it the union. Jess hugged me at circle. You're the blueprint, Jake kissed my forehead. My warrior. Days turned weeks. The paralysis visited once more. 3:12 a.m. Soft weight, no shape. I breathed once, square, calm, and it lifted before I finished the exhale. I smiled in the dark. Thanks for checking in. No journal, no post, just sleep. Mom moved closer, a small house in the Rattlesnake. Jake proposed on the M, Scott holding the ring. I said yes under stars. Breath circles grew. Rangers, locals, online. I taught, not as survivor, but as whole. One night, years on, I woke at 3:33 a.m. No paralysis, just peace. The room glowed faint, and there I was, at the foot of the bed, smiling. No words. I nodded. Good to see you. It nodded back, then gone. Not enemy, not guard, just me. Integrated, breathing free.
The years folded like trail maps, creased but clear. I'm Sarah Whitaker, 34 now, lead ranger for the Bitterroot District, living in a cabin Jake and I built on the edge of the Rattlesnake with Scout's paw prints in the concrete porch. Mom tends her garden out back, her laugh drifting through the pines. Jess runs the breath circle from the community center downtown, hundreds strong. The forum archived my thread as the Full Arc, a legend for the lost. Dr. Mark has retired, sent a card. You taught me. The journal sits on a shelf, spine cracked, last entry dated 3 years ago. The paralysis? A postcard from an old friend. Rare, polite, gone before coffee. Tonight, it knocks anyway, soft as snow on the roof. 3:33 a.m., the witching minute, the old clock says. I wake without the freeze, just a gentle pressure, like a hand on my shoulder. No silhouette, no voice, no wardrobe creak, just me, whole, breathing. The room smells of pine from the open window. Jake's quiet snore beside me, Scout's tail thumping in his sleep. The pressure lifts on its own. A nod, not a fight. I smile into the dark. Hey, old friend. No answer needed. I slip from bed, bare feet on the cool wood floor we sanded ourselves. The cabin is quiet, moonlight striping the walls. I pad to the kitchen, pour water, the glass cold against my lips. Outside the Clark Fork murmurs, the mountains stand guard. Missoula sleeps under a blanket of stars. I lean on the counter. No journal, no audio, no breath count. Just presence. The pressure's gone. The visit complete. I whisper to the night, thank you for the reminder. The pines rustle, agreeing. Back in bed, Jake stirs, arm finding my waist. You okay? He mumbles. Perfect, I say, kissing his forehead. Scout sighs, dreams, chasing rabbits. I settle, the mattress warm, the cabin ours. Sleep returns instant, deep, dreamless. Morning comes gold, coffee brewing, Mom's garden calling, Jess's circle at 10, a new crop of rangers to train. I step onto the porch, boots on, lungs full of mountain air. The pine sings, the river runs, the radiator in the old apartment long sold to someone new. Sometimes, on quiet nights, I still wake at 3:33. No weight, no shadow, just a soft glow in my chest. Little Sarah, 19 Sarah, Dad's echo, Mom's goodbye, all folded in, breathing with me. I nod to the dark. I'm still here. The glow pulses, content.
I sleep again. Easy. The journal stays closed, but the story lives. In the trails I lead, the breaths I teach, the hands I hold when the night gets heavy. The paralysis was never the enemy. It was the messenger. I heard it, thought it, forgave it, kept it. Now when it whispers, rare, gentle, I just breathe. Sometimes I still wake up, but now I just breathe.